This podcast is part of the Batman Universe Podcast Network, hosted by the BatmanUniverse.net. Check out everything related to Batman and the entire Bat family at the BatmanUniverse.net, including news and original content related to comics, movies, television, merchandise, video games, and more. Also, check out some of the other unique podcasts that TBU has to offer. Consider supporting this podcast by becoming a patron on Patreon. Even $1 can go a long way in supporting this content that you enjoy. Look for a link over at the BatmanUniverse.net to offer your support now. And now, on with the show.
Scarecrows frightened of a clown that's laughing, boys. I am a Batman. I am a Batman. Shine that signal, come out to play. I am a Batman. I am a Batman. Bring it on, Batman. Jump out your cave, 'cause I am a Batman. I am a Batman. Shine that signal.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 236 of Dublin Dane. My name is Tim, and joining me, as always, is Dane. Dane, how's it going?
It's going good, Tim. Missed a week because you had your 3/11 celebration, and you got busy and everything. And I'm really looking forward to hearing your 3/11 day review, starting from when you left your house.
Yeah. It's funny. I mean, regularly on the subject of music, obviously we talk about 3/11 Day, but the last 2 weeks have been the highest of highs regarding music, and just today and yesterday the lowest of lows, because I'd feel remiss if I didn't mention the passing of Taylor Hawkins, the drummer of the Foo Fighters, just last night as we're recording this episode. And yeah, still, I was in a state of shock finding that out. I'm still bummed about it right now, just not even being 24 hours after I learned the news. But obviously, I'm a huge Foo Fighters fan. I made no secret of that on this podcast. And there are the only band where I can say I've been a fan of theirs from the very beginning of where they formed, just finding out that Dave Grohl was recording these demo tapes and it was going to be released. And just because I can't say that about any other band. With 311, I became a fan of theirs with their third album. Weezer, not too long, a little bit after the first album came out, like a year after. So Foo Fighters are the only band I was a fan of from the very, very beginning, and just following everything about the band. And when Taylor joined the group 2 years later, and just what a perfect fit he was, because you could always tell that the first drummer they had, William Goldsmith, just wasn't the right fit. And then when he left and Taylor came on, Taylor just fit in like a glove, and just you could just see the bond that him and Dave Grohl had from the beginning and how it lasted for 25 years. And it's just such a gut punch to learn of his passing. And this really, really sucks. And you just feel for everyone who knew him, obviously his family, his bandmates, but in particular Dave Grohl, because like I said, you just knew how close they were. And just last night I was revisiting some chapters from Dave Grohl's book that came out late last year, The Storyteller, and just really saying just what a brother Taylor was to him, and the final chapter of that book. And man, it just really hits you knowing that he's no longer here, and it's just really, really sad. And you just can't help but think too, just from a fan perspective. I mean, this isn't probably the last thing on the Foo Fighters' minds right now, but as fans, I just can't help but think, is this actually the end of the Foo Fighters too? Because personally, I cannot see the band continuing on without him. He's just such an integral part of it, and was just like a face of that group as much as Dave Grohl was. So for them to continue on without him, it just seems impossible right now. So we'll see what happens. But part of me, what makes it so hard too, is that I think this could be the end of the Foo Fighters, which, like I said, one of my all-time favorite bands. So, which is just another layer of what just makes this news really, really tough. So, I just wanted to give a little tribute to Taylor. He was an amazing drummer, and just a great person from all accounts, that people who knew him and who talk about him. You just see the outpouring of love that just like the music community is showing for him, for everyone that knew him too. And just such a great personality. Just seeing him in interviews, with him and Dave. They're just really funny, and the appreciation he had for rock music too was just on full display. You just knew that he loved music and was thankful for the opportunity he had to be the drummer of the Foo Fighters and just getting to play with some of his idols in rock and roll. With the success of the Foo Fighters that enabled him to do that, you just really knew the appreciation he had for all that. So yeah, it will be missed. Sorry to start the episode off on a bummer note, but definitely just wanted to pay tribute and my respects for the loss of Taylor Hawkins. But we'll try to keep things on a more positive beat as we got a lot of fun stuff to talk about on this episode. So, but I was definitely sad to hear about that yesterday.
Is that Foo Fighters movie still coming out? That horror comedy?
It actually came out a few weeks ago. Actually at
did?
the end of February, I think. I haven't seen it just yet, but yeah, it just came out a few weeks ago.
I see. Well, it's sad. He was young. What was he, like 50?
Yeah, just 50. Yeah.
That sucks too. I feel bad for all Foo Fighters fans.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's going to be a tough go for the foreseeable future for all fans of the group, but we shall see.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, so that was kind of the low point of being a music fan this just last night. So, but 2 weeks ago, I was on an extreme high, being able to go to 311 Day 2022. And it was awesome because it was exactly 10 years since I went to my first 311 Day back in 2012. And this is my first time going to another 311 Day. So I was just excited about that. And yeah, making that drive from California to Vegas was about 3.5 hour drive, but I had my 311 playlist blasting. I create like a best of list for all my favorite bands where I just put every song off, like 7 songs off of every album, or not 7 songs, but almost like 7 rounds of my favorite songs from the bands from every album that they have. So it was a pretty long playlist for 311, who has 13 albums plus B-sides, where it lasted me both going and coming home from Vegas. That long playlist. So the drive there was nice and smooth, and just getting hyped for the show, listening to 311 or 311 music, then knowing that I'm going to see them later that night was so much fun. So I stayed at the MGM Park, which was my first time there, because last time I stayed at the MGM Grand, I guess, which is their main hotel. But this one, a little bit of smaller venue, but the venue was awesome. It was anyone who has been to the Universal Amphitheater, it's not there anymore, but it was a great venue for being not a super large arena, but big enough to hold a good sized crowd, but feeling like you don't have a bad seat, even if you're on the very top section. And this is what the venue at the Park Theater was like. And I had better seats than I was expecting, to be honest. When I got them, I thought, okay, these are pretty good, kind of like middle section, but I wasn't too far from the ground level, and it was just a great spot. The only thing that could have been better if I was more in the center, but still, that's a small little complaint I had. If I would have got tickets earlier, maybe I would have gotten center seats, but still, I was more than happy with the seats that I had there. So I got to Vegas like at around, oh, here's the funny part, Dave. Right when I exited the freeway to get on the Vegas Strip, right when I got off and I was waiting on the traffic light, take a wild guess what the time was when I arrived to Vegas.
Was it 3:10? Or
Nope.
no, sorry, 3:12.
Nope, even better. It was exactly 3:11 on the dot.
Oh, great. Yeah.
It was like,
Things
it could
are
have
meant
worked
to
out
be.
any better than that.
Yeah.
So first thing I did when I got there was check out the merch section in the hotel, because they had an awesome shirt at the store. They had a thing before 311 Day even happened, like maybe a week or two before, where you can pre-order some of the merchandise that was going to be there. So they had this awesome design of the font and logo for The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, the Super Nintendo game, but it says 311 as the main logo, then on the bottom 311 Day March 11th to 12th 2022, with the exact font as that Legend of Zelda logo. It was just such a cool design. And then instead of a sword, you have like the neck and head of a guitar going into the logo. It was just really cool. I had pictures of it on my social media accounts. I just like when I saw that shirt, I have to get when I go there. So that was the first stop I went because I was afraid they'd sell out pretty quickly because some of the merch does tend to sell out fast on 311 day. So I got there, they had some, but they didn't have it in large, which is the size I usually get. But I saw the medium, was like, this looks like it could still fit, and it still fits me fine. So I just went with the medium, but it's an awesome shirt. So that was my first stop, and I was thankful I was able to get that shirt. And then honestly, just as the Vegas trip, I really didn't do much. I just sat in my hotel, watched stuff while I waited for the concert. They had like on Saturday, they had a poster display, like museum type thing, where some of the artists who drew posters for their concerts in the past had some you can purchase and take a look at. It was almost like a gallery. And I wanted to see if they still had one that was like a couple of years ago, where another cool video game design they did was, if you remember the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game for the first Nintendo Entertainment System. It's where the turtles are busting out of a brick wall on their skateboards. 311 had a poster for one of their shows that was them in that same style, busting out of a wall, the members on the skateboard and the Ninja Turtles font saying 311. It's like, I wanted to get that poster, but it was at a concert that was out of state. So I figured, oh, they might have it here. Unfortunately, they didn't. They might have been all gone by the time I got there, but it was still cool to see some of the other poster art on display there. So like that was really the only other activity I did besides going to the concert. I just hung out in my hotel and just watched stuff on my iPad. So, but the concerts were amazing. They blew me away. That first night was awesome. Probably one of the best 311 shows I've been to. It sounded great, and the set list was incredible. That was my 16th 311 show, and I could honestly say that set list, because they break it up. They have one because it's an extended set list. So they have one, they take a break, then they come back to close out the night with a second one. That second set list was one of my favorites I've ever had the pleasure of experiencing at a live 311 concert. There's a string of songs that they played all in a row that was just a great mix of songs they rarely play live that I love hearing, and songs that I never heard live before that I've been dying to hear, which sounded great. Plus my all-time favorite 311 song, the song called Uncalm, which I've only heard once before live, which was at the first 311 day I went to in 2012. So to hear it again was awesome. But then in the mix of that, they threw in this great surprise of doing a cover of John Lennon's Imagine, and it sounded amazing. Like I actually got chills hearing it because they just made it their own, but you still knew it was Imagine by the melody, of course, and the lyrics, but it was definitely 311's version of Imagine, and it sounded great. That was just such an awesome surprise. So that's one of the things you hope to experience out of 311 days. Some surprises like that you wouldn't expect to hear, they just blow you away. So that first night was just incredible. So much fun. And then the second night set. I'm sorry, Dave, go
Tim,
ahead.
sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt you going off about this 311 day experience, but I have to ask, in between the 2 days, did they play Come Original, the only 311 song I know?
Of course, yeah. I believe that was on night one on the first set. So yes.
So they got it out of the way on night one.
They do still play their hits on 311 day. There's a part of me that feels maybe they shouldn't play like the biggest hits that they do every single concert, like Amber. That's just a 311 staple. I know they have to because it's probably their biggest hit, and the crowd still. It's funny. It's a mix of crowds that still love it because when you hear that opening guitar riff for Amber, that's like the biggest cheer it gets. But then the real hardcore 311 fans who go to tons of shows and hear it every time, that's where they kind of go for their bathroom break or go for a beer because we've all heard it so many times.
You gatekeepers. You guys are gatekeepers.
No, it's all good for the fans who are experiencing that song for the first time. But, for those who've seen 311 like 100 times, they kind of know when to get a drink or take a bathroom break.
Well, I mean, plus too, like, you have a band like 311 and they have like, I don't know, big hits like Come Original and Love Song and Amber.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if it's a hard decision for them to like. Do we play it on the first night, or do we play it on the final set of the final night? I wonder how like they they make their set list. You know, like do we put the hits in the beginning, or do we put it at the end, or do we sprinkle them in?
Like,
you know,
it's really more of a sprinkle where like it's kind of mixed throughout the set list for both nights. You hear like maybe two for each set, something like that.
I see, and then when they play like that one song that is like a deep cut that's on like a Japanese import or something, it's only available on the Japanese import. That's when the true 311 fans, the hardcore 311 fans, go crazy.
Yep, exactly. Yeah,
I see.
Awesome. So yeah, the second night, what stood out to me about that one was just how heavy that first set list was. It's like just doing a lot of their heavy songs, and the sound mix was great. It's just like they blew the roof off the place that second night. One song in particular, which is a rare one that they do. It's off not even one of their main albums. It was off one of their early EPs. It's a song called "Today My Love," and during the chorus it has heavy distortion guitars on it. But I wouldn't consider it one of their heaviest songs. But for whatever reason, I think the guitars on that one were turned up to 11 because no other song throughout both nights sounded as heavy as the chorus of that did. And I was just eating all that up. It just sounded amazing. The performance of that song was probably my highlight of both nights. It just sounded incredible. The only downside was that for that song and one other one, there was this light that was going on shining through the crowd, and it would kind of blind me for a few seconds throughout the course of the song where I'd have to close my eyes and look away. So I couldn't see the band for like certain portions of it, but still, as long as I could hear it, that was the most important thing. So
and you do bring up a good point of like sound, because like I don't know how many concerts I've been to where it's like, you know, you're sort of excited to see the band, and the band comes out and they don't sound good.
Yeah.
That's one of the
always
most
disappointing.
Yeah. It's
I've
like,
been
oh,
through
but
that.
I'm
That's
seeing
for sure.
them. Yeah. I'm seeing them, but the sound isn't very good.
The worst part of that is if the sound isn't good, and then you can hear like the crowd singing more than the band, that just ruins the whole experience.
Yeah, that's bad. Yeah.
So yeah, that great set list both nights. I would probably say my favorite was probably the first one. The first night there was just the energy that night, and just like I said, that string of songs they did over the course of that first night was just really, really, I think, special to be. If you're a diehard 311 fan, it was a special night to be a part of, to see it live. So it was an awesome time. I'm so glad I went this year. Hopefully they go back to Vegas in 2024, because I would love to experience it again and just kind of get to go to as many 311 days as I can, would be awesome. So I had an amazing time. It was just fun to kind of do something different for me, because I don't travel a whole lot, only when there's something I kind of want to experience. And 311 day being in Vegas was something I wanted to experience, especially like I said earlier, it being 10 years since I got to go to my first 311 days. So yeah, it was a whole lot of fun. I'm actually still on a buzz from it, so so that's still sticking with me 2 weeks later.
Yeah, you make me sound like a loser, Tim. I didn't go to any concert in the time that between episodes. Sorry, Tim.
Us being in complete sync with each other is not on this episode. I was hoping you got to experience something of a concert, so we could say we both went to concerts on this episode, but not meant to be, I guess.
Yeah, I just stayed home. I got caught up on the TMNT comic.
Nice.
That's about it.
Hey, that sounds like a good time to me. So
yeah.
So you're all caught up with Punk Frogs then showing up, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm all caught up. Yeah, it's just watching the YouTube channel, the old Turtle Den.
Yeah.
It makes me really, really curious about what the next big move that they're gonna do. That Sophie Campbell and Tom Waltz are gonna be doing. With the introduction of Venus.
Right. Like those teaser images they're showing look really cool.
Yeah, I know. Like I really like her shell.
Yep.
With that big jewel thing in the back of it. like how that's connecting to like that doctor that we see in I think the most recent issue.
Yeah, because I know one just came out this Wednesday or last Wednesday. I haven't read it yet. My plan is to do that probably this weekend. But so I guess I'm not fully caught up. I still have to read the most recent issue.
I think the one you're talking about got delayed.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm just wondering like what's the next big move gonna be? There was that image of the new Turtles with the reversed headband, I guess you could say, or the face mask, I guess you could say, and this apocalypse storyline, and what does it mean after Eastman and Laird? Is it after the last Ronin?
Yeah.
Is that when it's going to come out?
I don't see. Well, obviously, you mean like timelines, like timeline wise of the Turtles, or just
no, like comic releases.
Okay.
Like, is it going to come out after that? Because
I think so, because they just announced the final issue of Last Ronin is coming out in April, like middle of April.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, at least it's not December 2025.
Right. One prediction I'm glad you're wrong on, Dane.
Yeah. But yeah, like what does that mean after Eastman and Laird? Is it going to be a continuation of no, it's not going to be a continuation of the or connect to the Eastman and Laird comic, Mirage comic. So I'm pretty sure that Sophie Campbell said that it wasn't connected to that in any way. Yeah. So yeah, I'm just wondering. I'm so glad I got caught up, and yeah, I'm just wondering how everything's going to play out, because I don't know if you read the issue with the Punk Frogs where they're like they're going after Donnie, and they're like, you stole something from us.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I'm just wondering, like, how does that connect to? I mean, are they misinterpreting Donnie with Venus, or?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm guessing as of right now. At least when Venus got revealed that she's coming into.
Yeah.
This is because they made a point where it's like that turtle had something in its shell, like some mechanical like device or like something was altered on their shell, and we know what the design we saw for Venus, so that might be linked to like they might think that's ends up being her. So yeah, I'm just as intrigued as you are with that. And I'm kind of glad that I'm really excited for the stories and teasers they're showing, because at this point I kind of felt the whole Mutant Town storyline has kind of run its course, where it's time to shake things up and have like a new big thing happen. As much as I've enjoyed the Mutant Town stuff, I think it did its job of kind of being a palate cleanser for all the big stuff that's happened in the first 100 issues. But I'm kind of ready for like the next big story arc to happen, like the next big threat to come down on the Turtles on a bigger scale, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and like that's exactly what I like about this comic, is that it's the Ninja Turtles, but all they essentially did was have a town meeting and elected a mayor, sort of, and like that's what I like about the Ninja Turtles comic, is that like they're the namesake of the comic, but they're sort of like a background character.
Yeah, they really are.
It's more of a Sally Pride / Mona Lisa / April / I don't know, Cry story, and that's what I really appreciate about it. But
like the fight for control for
Hob too. Yeah, and the Turtles, in a sense, are like the background characters.
They really are,
the bit players. Yeah, and that's what I truly enjoy about the Ninja Turtles comic. That's one thing. That's one of the reasons why I keep coming back, because they're not saving the universe every single story arc. They're not saving the entire city in every single story arc. And I mean, they do, but if you keep on doing that, story arc after story arc after story arc, then something like City of War loses its its uniqueness, I guess you could say. Yeah. So yeah, I've been really enjoying the storyline, but yeah, like you said, it's time for it to end, and let's move on to the next big thing, which is Venus and the Apocalypse storyline, whatever they're calling it, and of course the Last Ronin. I mean, I want that comic so bad.
I know. It's like it's gonna be awesome. Like I said, the wait's not too long now, and we're talking about obviously this current arc on the mutant town. But my favorite issue might just be, I believe it's like one that came out during Christmas or like start of the new year. It's just one of those comic issues where there's no dialogue. It was just art, where everybody, the turtles and everyone, are looking for the weasels that kind of went back to Old Hob, and they're just kind of out looking for him. And you just kind of saw the different relationships the turtles have with the different characters. No dialogue spoken, but you just saw just how close all of them are as like kind of separate, and that was a group too. That was just a really cool issue.
I can't believe that Old Hob is still going around.
Yeah. He's one of my favorite new characters introduced in the story, or he becomes one, because his first time he appears in the very first issue, obviously he's a villain, you don't really like him, but man, as soon as we got that micro series issue telling about his origin, that's where I really started feeling bad for the character. I just could kind of not necessarily justify what he does, but could be a little more sympathetic towards him, and you can still see there's like a sense of goodness in him deep down, where he does kind of want the best for mutants, but he just goes about it in a totally wrong way. So he's a character I just really come to appreciate more and more as the series has gone on.
Yeah, he's a sympathetic villain. I mean, you can't really disagree with the guy, when it comes to the mutant rights sort of thing that he's going. I mean, he's talking about. But again, it's about how he's doing it. That's that's a problem. So yeah, I'm finally caught up. I'm ready for this next storyline, and Venus and the Last Ronin, and I've just been in Turtle City, I guess you would say. I rewatched the 3 movies, the 3 original movies.
Even the third one, wow, because it's actually been years since I've seen the third one.
Oh, it's so great, Tim. It's so great.
Oh man,
you have to watch it.
I probably should revisit it.
I still think the second movie, The Secret of the Ooze, is my favorite.
Really?
Movie, because it's like they stopped caring.
It just had to be dumbed down for kids more. That's the downfall of it, in my opinion.
Let's just make this bad. I think that's what they thought.
But hey, a lot of iconic stuff has come out of that. I mean, Toka and Razor. I mean, they're TMNT staple characters now. They had a really cool arc in the Mutant Town story in the IDW comics too. They did something different with them, which worked really well.
Yeah,
so.
And also they went back into the future with Lita at the end. So I'm wondering how that's going to play out. Like, are we going to see a future storyline with Lita and Toka and Razor, and they're going to, be all friends, which is going to be really weird to see, because, I mean, especially Toka, because Toka looks like an evil snapping turtle.
Now, Dan, you sent me a text. I'm curious if you started watching it. You asked me about the 2012 TMNT series, and I'm going to say that kind of like the same thing I did with IDW comics. It's like something you got to watch. Where it's like, I told you how it's not only it's probably like it goes back and forth between the IDW and the Nick Turtle series of what is my favorite turtle incarnations. They're different, but yet so good. And it's just my third favorite animated series of all time after Batman the Animated Series and Clone Wars. So that should say something right there, how high a regard I think of that series. So have you started watching it at all yet?
I hate to let you down, Tim, but no, because it's not available for streaming anywhere.
It's not on Hulu anymore?
No, they took it off because
I know that's where it was for a bit.
Yeah, they took it off because of Paramount Plus. And
it's not even on Paramount Plus though. It's not
on there.
That's what's stupid.
Yeah, they only have the rise of the TMNT and
The 2003
the
series.
2003. Yeah, yeah. The
That had some really good seasons early on. Those are like pretty much straight adaptations of the original Mirage comics, which is pretty cool to
really.
see. Yeah.
Wow. Except Leo doesn't kill
Yeah, well,
Shredder.
minus the killing. They do have a twist with Shredder that I'm not the biggest fan of, but
Oh,
yeah, it's. I mean, they did something different, but still, those stories they were telling are really good.
yeah.
But the 2012,
I'm
man,
just yeah.
it's amazing because it's a great balance of comedy, action, and just heartfelt storytelling between the characters. Like some
Mhm.
of the relationships the characters have is just really, really well done. Probably my favorite Splinter and Shredder dynamic ever, even more so than the IDW one, which is pretty great. But the take on those two characters and that series in particular are just so good. And yeah, there's going to be stuff where it's geared towards kids, but I still think overall the balance of it telling great storytelling, action, and still being fun and good for all ages. In the early seasons, anyway, actually gets kind of dark in the later seasons, kind of like how Clone Wars does, kind of as it went on. So by the time you get to season 4, it kind of goes into a little more darker places. So, but it's just a great, great run. My only disappointment is the final episode where they went as far as what they decided to conclude the story with. I won't say anything, but it wasn't what I expected. That's for sure.
Well, I really enjoyed the first season of that show before it got taken down from Hulu.
How far did you
Um,
get on that? Do you remember? Because I remember you started watching a while ago, if I remember right.
yeah. Um, trying to remember. I think Karai was in it.
Okay.
Someplace, someplace early in season 2, I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I don't know. I stopped watching it. I I really like what they did with I don't know what they're called. It's either the Krang or the Utroms.
Mm. Right now they're just
And
referred
I
to
like
as the Krang, but they get into Utron
Krang.
stuff later
Yeah,
on. Yeah.
yeah, I like their speech pattern
Yeah.
or how they talk.
The
Yeah,
Krang is after the ones called turtles.
yeah, yeah. So I don't know. Is the 2003 series worth getting into?
I definitely say so. Those early seasons, it went on too long. Probably like
Yeah.
after season 4 is kind of probably where it should have stopped. And there's some filler episodes in there that aren't the best, but if you get into like those ones where they just adapt the Mirage comics, it's pretty awesome.
See.
And I
And
love their designs too in that series.
yeah, they look really cool. And the rise of the TMNT. Not really. You haven't really watched that one.
I did watch that one. That's totally different. It's definitely more of a comedic style. It's kind of almost like
Yeah.
an Animaniacs version of the Turtles, but yet it still works. I mean, it's totally different. It's more funny, but yet there is still kind of a cool story in there as the series goes on. And they're more like 15-minute shorts, really. They almost combine 2 shorts to make one episode, but it's still
Really?
pretty fun. Yeah.
I see. Yeah, it looks fun, but I don't know. I mean, is it just a kid show or it's
It's
like,
definitely
oh, we're doing the wacky thing? Yeah,
out of all of them, it is the one that's more geared towards kids ever since the original series. So
I see. Well, I don't know. They got to put the 2012 show
I know
back
I can't
on
believe it's not on there yet.
someplace.
And
Yeah,
the original series, they got to have all. I mean, that's your flagship streaming service. You own the rights to the Turtle. It's one of your big franchises. They put it on there right away.
there's got to be something with that one show, I guess, because or both shows, the original and the
Yeah.
2012, because yeah, I really want to go back to the original and I want to see the 2012 version. So yeah,
Hopefully, be on there soon.
unfortunately.
Let's plan ahead because in September it's going to be the 10-year anniversary of the 2012 series. So
Yeah.
hopefully you'll be able to see it all by then, and then we could do like a big retrospective discussion to celebrate its 10-year anniversary. So let's plan that far ahead right now.
Or maybe
But
they're just waiting for the 10-year anniversary mark to put it on Paramount Plus.
Well, I hope it won't take that long. And before we leave off the subject of Ninja Turtles, I gotta say real quick how awesome it was getting the news of the TMNT Cowabunga collection coming for all video game consoles.
Yeah.
I've been dying for a collection like that for so long, and I might have even said this on past episodes where we're talking about E3, how I would love it if we just got a collection that included the original arcade game and Turtles in Time. Like just those two, I'd be happy. But the fact we're getting 13 games in this collection, including those two, plus their console ports, which are different versions, plus the Tournament Fighter games, all three different versions that came out for the Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and Genesis, the original Nintendo game, the third Nintendo game, the Manhattan Project, the Genesis game, the Hyperstone Heist, some Game Boy games, which I've only played one of them. So that collection, it just blew my mind. It's my most anticipated game of the year, without question. Even though it's old games, I've been dying to have those original classic Turtles games in one collection. The fact that we're finally getting that now with online play for the important ones like Turtles in Time, the arcade game, and Tournament Fighters, it's just a literal video game dream come true for me. I am beyond excited for that. All I need now is the release date. Hopefully it won't be too long because I imagine it can't be too much longer to port those old games. So hopefully it'll be sometime in the summer, but I am ecstatic about that collection coming out.
Yeah, I already pre-ordered it.
Nice.
Unfortunately, the release date says
December 31st, right?
Yeah, 2022. So hopefully it's before that date. And yeah, it can't be that hard to port it over. And there's only so many times you can watch, Let's Plays on YouTube of Turtles in Time.
I know, you want to play it.
You go crazy. Yeah, before you want to play it. And yeah, hopefully that comes out really, really soon because, like you, Tim, I just want to play just one playthrough of Turtles in Time, and I'll be that $40 will have paid for itself.
Exactly right.
But
that's such a deal, man. And that's the both versions because the arcade game features different bosses in some of the levels, and the Super Nintendo, while only 2 players, has an additional level and different bosses than the arcade one. So the fact that they're including both is just awesome.
Yeah, and not that, but you get 13 games total, and yeah, Tim, it's gonna be a long wait for. This is gonna be our new Last Ronin,
right?
this game, and also the Shredder's Revenge, which was supposed to come out.
I know,
but I haven't heard anything about it.
See, I'm guessing the Cowabunga collection will come out kind of like during the summer, and then probably kind of lead the way towards Shredder's Revenge, probably in the fall, like a holiday release type of thing, which I'm more than okay with because I will be totally satisfied playing all those original arcade games before Shredder's Revenge.
Yeah, it's gonna be a long
I might even
wait,
get multiple copies because, of course, I'll get it on Xbox, but then I kind of want a physical copy because I love the box art. And I might get it for the Switch because it'd be kind of cool to have that on the go, more portable versions that take around too in certain instances. So,
I see.
Did you pre-order on the PlayStation?
Yeah, I got it on PlayStation.
Unless it's crossplay, I might have to get on PlayStation too, just so we could play together.
Yeah, I was about to say you got to get it on PlayStation now because I bought it on PlayStation. I should have got it on Xbox because I know you're an Xbox head. Xbox maniac. so yeah, it's gonna be a long wait, and
hopefully not too long. I'm banking on summer. Hopefully I'm right about that.
Yeah, so while you were on 311 on a 311 high, I was on a turtle high, I guess you could say. I finally completed my NECA Mirage Turtles line series.
Oh, nice.
I guess you could say. Yeah, I got the April figure and I got the Shredder and the Foot Clan figures. So, yeah.
Really cool, man. Your TMNT collection puts mine to shame. It really does. I got to up my game on that.
Well, I kind of shot myself in the foot because it's like I I bought the NECA Mirage Turtles and the April and the Shredder and Foot Clan, but I can't open any of them because they're too expensive. So yeah, I kind of shot myself in the foot with that. I did get caught up with the at least the major figures of the. I mean, I didn't get like Mutagen Man or anybody like that, but like I completed like the main figures of the Super 7 Ultimate Series. So I got all 4 turtles. I got April, and I got Splinter, Shredder. And Casey. So
nice.
Yeah, caught up with that one. At least the main figures.
Yeah.
And you get Baxter.
Well, even if you can't display them, it's still cool that you have them in your collection.
Well, I mean, I opened the Super 7 ones, which I'm looking at right now, but I'm not going to open the Mirage Turtles, the NECA Mirage Turtles. So yeah, that's what I did, Tim. I was just a loser nerd staying at home.
Quite the opposite, Dave. Quite the opposite in my book. Well,
but anyway,
sounds like we both had really fun these past 2 weeks, even though we didn't get to record the last 2 weeks. So
yeah,
it was even more fun catching up and talking about all the stuff that we did the last 2 weeks. So maybe that's what makes us losers even more.
Yeah, I guess. Well, at least you went to something cool, Tim. That's all I gotta say. At least you went to something cool. Well, I stayed at home, read comics, and collected action figures.
The only way that could have been better is you went to. While I was at a 311 day concert, you were able to go to Out of Their Shells concert reunion tour or something.
What I didn't know about coming out of their shells was I didn't know there was a follow-up tour after that.
They had to keep it going or try to milk it more somehow.
Yeah, it was called Down in Your Town, which is like it would go to different towns. I guess on a smaller scale, and I mean I'm not sure what they would do because of course it wasn't recorded or anything. But
I'm surprised they just didn't go to local Pizza Huts and put on like a small show.
Oh man, yeah. I hate to get political on this show, Tim, but that was capitalism at its absolute peak. I gotta say, we're on the decline of capitalism right now. I hate to get political, but we are on the decline now after that peak of coming out of their shells. And
How can it get any bigger than that?
Sponsored by Pizza Hut. Brought to you by, I don't know. Brought to you by Hasbro.
Or Playmates. It'd probably be Playmates instead of
Playmates, yeah. Surge licensing. Yeah, so unfortunately we're on the decline of capitalism, and because that was the absolute peak of
so glad I was around to experience all that.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess with being caught up on all that, we can get into our Lord of the Rings Fellowship of the Ring commentary. I know it's been a couple of episodes since we got to go back and do the commentary, because I know when we did our review of the Batman, we just went straight to that because we just had to talk about that right away. But now it's time to get back into our Fellowship of the Ring commentary. So, as always, if you want to grab your VHS copy, your Betamax tape, your Laserdisc, your HD DVD, your projector, your UMD so you can watch it on your PSP, your Blockbuster membership card, your Netflix physical media disc, your DVHS copy, and of course your converted VHS to DVD copy that you made on your PC. So if you have all that, go ahead and sync it to the 24-minute mark, because we're going to be going from minute 24 to 25. So Dane, are you good to go?
Yeah, but before we get into that, I gotta ask you, Tim, how many UMDs do you think would have taken to fill up? I mean, to have the extended version of Fellowship of the Ring on it?
5 if you want it to be a really good quality. I don't remember how much space those tiny discs held, but I imagine not a lot. I mean, it obviously could fit one full movie on there. Like I said, I had Spider-Man 2 on there, but I don't remember how good it looked. So,
yeah, well, what was the runtime on Spider-Man 2?
2 hours, 10 minutes, something like that.
2 hours. So, like, this is almost 4, give or take. So, 2, I guess you could say. 2.5.
At the very minimum, yes.
Yeah, it's a shame that they didn't try to put this out in UMD.
I know. I will say, if Star Wars came out on UMD, I probably would have had those right now too. That'd be in my collection.
But anyway, yeah, sorry, I am ready, Tim.
All right, 3, 2, 1, play. We're about to embark on Bilbo's iconic speech here.
But we're still in this party scene.
Like I said, it's the new Bruce Wayne and John Blake talking in his living room. Oh, always liked Bilbo's speech to the crowd, kind of putting him down in a little sense. Kind of know how they bothered him ever since he returned back from the events of The Hobbit, I'm sure of. What does he say exactly? It's like, he's like, I don't know half of you half as well as I should, and I like less than half of you half as well as you deserve. And the look on the Hobbit's face is like, what? Even Gandalf's work right there is like, I know what you're talking about, Bilbo.
This is the part of the party where you're like, oh, somebody got too drunk.
Yeah.
Or, things are turning serious. Yeah.
And as expected, we didn't get to finish Bilbo's speech in this 1 minute, but we'll see if it still continues on the next minute-by-minute commentary.
Did you see that cake though?
It was a big cake.
Yeah. I wonder if like the die-hard Lord of the Rings fans count the candles on that cake to make sure it's 111.
I'm sure there's some that have, like, just to make sure that Peter Jackson was paying enough detail to that as well.
Yeah. Speaking of movies, I also did rewatch Spider-Man No Way Home.
Still a long wait for me to get the 4K disc for that one. I hate the release schedules for that.
April 12th.
Yep.
That's tough.
It's crazy because I think the Batman's going to be on HBO Max either that same weekend or the week after. So just the fact that I'm going to have both to watch at home right away is just insane.
Yeah. I do have to say it's such a great movie, No Way Home. I mean, I know we already talked about it, but I think they really did a good job with No Way Home and resetting the Spider-Man sort of storyline and everything.
Like it's that whole status quo.
But I gotta say, Tim, so Peter was indirectly at fault for May's death, right?
Well, yeah, that's the whole crux of his growth as a character in this movie story. I mean,
yeah. So May is going to be the new Uncle Ben.
Yeah, in this universe, obviously, that's what I think makes it so great. As much as all the appearances of the old characters and Toby and Andrew Garfield, obviously that's what makes Spider-Man No Way Home so special. But the crux of this story being the growth that this version of Peter Parker went through, and it's just your classic Spider-Man story, and they did it so well in such a different way, and just make it all work with all the great fan service. That's what makes it so special in my book.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm dying to watch it again. So I can't wait for that 4K disc to come out.
Also, I gotta say, Tim, they still haven't got the Spider-Man swinging through the air / jumping / whatever acrobat stuff, CGI stuff. They still haven't got gotten it perfect yet. It still looks like a cartoon.
You think so?
Yeah, it still doesn't look realistic.
Yeah, to me, I didn't get that vibe when I watched it. You can obviously see that in the earlier Spider-Man movies when the effects are a little outdated by today's standards, but in this one, I didn't have a problem with it at all. But unless now I'm going to notice it because you mentioned it, Dane. So you might have ruined it for me. So.
And how creepy is Willem Dafoe?
Dude, he was amazing.
He's just a creep. Yeah.
So glad he didn't have his face hidden behind that helmet in this one. It's just the facial expressions he had as the Goblin in his suit that looked more like the comic with the purple and green. It was just, he was free to go crazy with the character, and he did. It was so awesome to see.
Yeah, they should have did instead of like having no mask, they should have did that animatronic one they tried to do.
Yeah, that's right. Now, don't say anything too much about it, Dan, because I'm looking forward to watching it when I get the disc. But the special features on it look really cool with Toby, Andrew, and Tom all together. Did you watch all those yet?
Yeah, they are pretty cool, Tim. That's all I'll say.
Okay, awesome. I was trying to stay away from all that because I know there's clips and stuff out there, but I just want to see it once I get that 4K disc, because it's going to be really such a treat to see all of them talk about being Spider-Man and working together. I just cannot wait for that.
Yeah, it's weird. I thought this was just a COVID thing or a lockdown thing, but I'm pretty sure Sony put one of the entire feature on YouTube.
Really?
I mean, I know that movie companies were starting to do that because I saw like the making of the Dark Knight stuff.
Yeah,
was
that's like
on
years
there,
later though,
but,
when that came out.
Yeah, but this was years later. But I know they have one full length feature, and it's only like, it's like less than 10 minutes, I'd say.
Really? Like even the ones that you bought, it's like this documentary like that long?
Yeah, they're not very long. Yeah, like 20 minutes, I'd say. But there is one full length feature, special feature on YouTube right now, I think.
See, I thought they would have wait for the release of it on disc at the very least.
Yeah,
but I guess not.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was a lockdown thing where it's like the companies were just putting out the special features of the older movies on YouTube just for people to have something to watch. But I guess this is a new trend, Tim.
I guess so. More stuff to try to avoid if you're holding out for the physical copy. They're just making it more harder and harder for those to wait for the physical. They really are, because they want everyone to go digital now.
Yeah. And speaking of special features that are on discs that got released early on Rotten Tomatoes or whatever on YouTube, it leads us right into our feature topic, I guess you could say.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah.
How can it be anything else? But we got it. That deleted scene we've heard Matt Reeves tease about for the Batman.
Oh, sorry, Tim. Sorry. I was actually talking about that one scene, that one special feature deleted scene for How I Met Your Father.
I'm not even aware of
sorry.
That.
I might have got mixed up.
So that's why you were so excited to talk about this episode, not the Batman stuff. It was for How I Met Your Father. Okay.
Yeah. So what were we talking about? What Batman thing?
Well, I don't know if you heard, Dave, but let me send you a link to a YouTube video about a certain deleted scene. So then we'll come back and finish recording this episode.
I'm sure it's nothing. I'm sure it's just a throwaway Batman just standing on a building or something.
Not even finished. It's like you could see the sets, the blue screen and all that stuff. So really not worth watching.
In fact, Robert Pattinson isn't even in it. It's a storyboard.
Yeah. You see the Joker in there, but we see Batman talking. It's just a storyboard art. It just cuts back and forth between that.
Yeah.
No. Something much greater than that.
Sure.
Yeah. But before we go into that, Dane, real quick, I just kind of want to revisit the Batman a little bit. Did you happen to see it again?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I saw it on that Sunday after we did the review episode.
Same with me. Yeah, saw it that Sunday.
Yeah,
And
I enjoyed it more. I mean, I already think this is, second to The Dark Knight. So, yeah, there wasn't much change in my opinion. But I'm really curious to see or to hear what how you interpret the movie now. Do you like it less now, or do you like it more? Do you like it the same?
Yeah, so after seeing it again, I definitely enjoyed it more than when I saw it the first time. And again, I want to stress that I did not hate it or did not like it on my first viewing. I liked it a heck of a lot. Just didn't love it.
Not from what I heard, Tim. Not from
I
this
know.
perspective.
See, between with you and some other people on Twitter, like I had this reputation now, like I didn't like it when I first saw it. But I know it's more played toward the joking way, but still, it's kind of fun. But ironic
No, I
that
kid.
that's my reputation
I
now for the
kid.
Batman. It's like it'll
Yeah.
forever be that. But no,
Yeah,
man, it's like it's a really great movie. Yeah, it might not ever be on the level that I love it, like The Dark Knight, and that's totally okay. Like I said on the episode, but man, it's great. It's hard not to recognize just what a great Batman movie it is, and just really appreciating more of this the intricate story that Matt Reeves is telling here, and just how he directed and just did certain scenes, not just Matt Reeves, but everyone involved, the actors, and again the music. I mean, that opening sequence is one of the greatest opening sequence or introduction to Batman there is. I shouldn't say opening sequence because that's a Riddler murder is what opens the movie, but the introduction to Batman, it's an all-time great. Just the build-up with the music, the bat signal, the dialogue. I said it on a review episode how I really liked it, but I like flat out love it now just seeing it again. It's just the perfect introduction to this version of Batman, and just really appreciating things more. And I know one of the things I kind of had a nitpick about at the end was Batman coming to that realization that he's needs to do away with him just being vengeance and being something more. See, that played out better than when I saw it the first time, because it did, seeing it again made me kind of, obviously I knew what they were doing before, but I just kind of felt like he was just totally abandoning, being vengeance and that being the course of what he sets out to do as Batman. But it was really more of just kind of being more than that, not totally abandoning being vengeance because of wanting to avenge the loss of his parents, but it's just realizing that's not all it should be. It should be more. And then him kind of saying that and acknowledging that more as he's helping those people is really like such a beautiful moment for the character. And that's something that just gets talked about a lot, and I disagree more. And I'm sorry if that sounded like I said disagree. It's something I agree more with people who keep talking about just how amazing that end sequence was with Batman just helping those people and just getting them out. And then the music that plays over it, like that's where Something in the Way kicks in again. And it just goes so beautifully with that moment where Batman is coming to that realization where, yeah, he has to be more than just vengeance and what he can do for the city. It's beautifully shot. It's like I said, the music, Something in the Way mixed in with Michael Giacchino's score there. It is a really great ending for the story that they were telling. So yeah, probably
also,
so. I was gonna.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, the one thing I still wish they did more of was just exploring more with the realization of Thomas Wayne and what he did, and just Bruce kind of dealing with that, where his father wasn't always as good as Bruce believed him to be, in the reputation he had. And I just really wish they focused more on that in the overall story, because to me that's just such an interesting, fascinating thing to deal with for a longer course of a movie. And how I keep talking about how I just eat up stories that have to do with Bruce dealing with his parents' death and just his parents in general, because obviously that's not the crux of why he is Batman. And I just love stories that deal with that. So I just wish there was more done with that, because I really think you could have went down some interesting roads and exploring Bruce more as a character that way. So that's still kind of just my biggest gripe with it. But overall, yeah, it's just really great.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you came around to realizing what they were trying to say, I guess you could say, at the end with, Bruce, you can't always be all about the vengeance and stuff, and you can't always be, this angry, brooding, vengeful person, when it comes to stopping crime or, if you have these romantic goals. So yeah, I'm glad that you came around to it and you finally see the light.
Yeah, I just got over my little hiccup with that moment because like it was great when I saw it the first time, but I had that hiccup with like, hey, should it be totally abandoning I Am Vengeance, because that is a part of Batman still, even when he does do things for the greater good for the people of Gotham. But it did feel more like of an expansion rather than just ignoring that aspect of it now. So yeah.
Well, I mean, it's I hate to say it, and I hate to sound too woke or whatever, but because I have seen people criticize it for it, but it is political, right? It's a political statement.
It's hard to not recognize that.
Yeah, I mean, like you it's a criticism of our justice system. Like you can't be vengeful. Like you can't look at somebody that's addicted to drugs and be like, you're bad, so you're gonna get locked up for the rest of your life or whatever. And maybe if you help somebody, help somebody that's addicted to drugs, or you send them to therapy instead of locking them in a cage. Maybe you'll get a different result. And it's not always about vengeance, and it is a political statement at the end. And I know people criticize it for it, but I think it's a relevant, it's a relevant topic, and I think they executed it perfectly.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, there's lots of thing where people like think like it's some new thing now, but like that's always been a part of Batman. like I said, what's his catchphrase in the animated series? I am vengeance. I mean, I am the night. I am Batman. It's always been a part of him. So the fact that's like you said, people criticizing that, where they're criticizing it more from a political standpoint, where my criticism was more from just Batman as a character that I always known him to be. It's just my version of Batman that I like. So, but that's what, again, having all these different versions of iteration of Batman, that's what makes it great to have all these. You can do these different things, yet still having the other aspects of the character that you like, just kind of doing it in different ways, which this movie did super, super well. So, yeah, so it was just great seeing it a second time and just having a better feeling for it overall, just what a truly great movie it is. But I think it just got even better the last few days with that deleted scene that came out. Because first of all, it was pretty cool surprise to get it, because when Matt Reeves, because he said the weekend the movie came out, like, this will come out at some point. I just figured, okay, it's going to be a special feature on the digital release and the 4K Blu-ray release. It's going to be part of the deleted scene collection. But the fact that it came out early, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dane, but was this kind of the big reveal from that Riddler website they had going on? Was this what it all led to? Or did he just put it out?
I don't know. I have no idea, but I know, I want to say the DC Twitter account was promoting that website, so I can kind of see how like you can come to that conclusion. So, but I'm not sure yet.
Okay, yeah, it would be.
But then why would they give it specifically to Rotten Tomatoes?
So that's where it first premiered on. Okay, because I wasn't sure where at first. I just saw kind of Matt Reeves tweeting about it, because he like sent 2 tweets about it. Because I thought one of them was towards that Riddler website, because I'm looking at his tweet right now. It said like, riddle me this: the less of them you have, the more one is worth. Watch the Batman Arkham deleted scene, and that's just a link towards like the video on what is it, Vimeo, or that other video?
Vimeo,
Vimeo, yeah. I thought he sent one with that Reddit, whatever website link, but maybe I'm just getting mixed up with something else.
Yeah, and I'm unsure if Rotten Tomatoes was the first one to have it. I mean, that's the one that I saw retweeted the most.
Okay, yeah, here he is.
Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah.
So Matt Reeves sent a tweet out, says that who gets the last laugh, and it has the link to the ratsalada.com. So
I see.
Maybe it does get revealed there.
So it was. I wonder what people have to do to like unlock that.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what, but
yeah,
it was a good payoff if that's what it was for, though. So
I wonder if there's
yeah,
anything else on that site.
I'm not sure. I don't think so, but if it is, it's a small comparison or small in scale compared to what that we got with that deleted scene. That's for sure.
Sure.
Yeah, I remember seeing it that it came out while I was at work, and I was like, I don't think I'm gonna watch it right now because it's like 5 minutes. I'm not gonna have the volume pretty loud on my lunch break. I just want to see it for the first time and just really get sunk into it and enjoy it. So I did see a few images though. People were tweeting out, so I did get a quick look at the Joker before seeing the actual sequence, but of course it's still kind of blurry images.
That's a. I think we should just start off by talking about the Joker.
Yeah,
himself. Oh my God, he's so gross.
Yeah,
he's that skin thing that he has, and the facial scars. I guess you could say. I mean, growths. I guess you could say, because it doesn't look like scars. It looks like there's been growth on his face.
it's like a combination of both. It seems like.
Yeah, like he has like some kind of skin thing going on, and he has no fingernail. Like his fingernails fell off, and he has like this growth on his face, and his hair is falling out, and his teeth are all black. Yeah, it's a disgusting Joker, and I think they got it really good because you can't do what's come before. And I think they really, really nailed it with the look, at least the look of the Joker.
Yeah, it's such a grotesque Joker. It's funny because it looks unique, but I also got vibes to the Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo Joker, where he cuts off the skin of his face, just because kind of how grotesque that was, and his hair was kind of falling out there too. But yeah, this kind of has a disgusting look all on its own, really. And because I know Matt Reeves has said that he was kind of born with that disfigurement with the smile. He's comparing because the inspiration he's going for it was, ironically enough, the inspiration for when Joker was first created with the Man Who Laughs silent movie. I think it was Conrad Vetti is the actor's name, but just having it where he was born with that, where he's always smiling, and that's kind of what he wants to go with this Joker. But it was so much more than that. So I'm wondering, what I thought of is, because we know obviously him and Batman have encountered each other previously. So, and it kind of, his hair is green already, and it looks like he does have a little white on his skin, but not so much to where it's like permanently all white, like we know the classic Joker to be, and it's not paint like Heath Ledger's Joker. So it's like, did he actually get thrown into not a vat of chemicals, but like acid, and the acid really messed up his skin? Like we said, his face is all scarred up, and his like has no fingernails, his hair's falling out. Is that a result to falling in or getting exposed to actual acid more so than chemicals, or it was kind of a combination between both? And was that
I thought it was I thought it was because of like sort of like the skin disease, like the psoriasis, right? Like you get that white sort of skin, like that dead skin. I thought it was like more in that direction, where like this is a physical thing, like he has some kind of skin disease, and like instead of painting his face white like Heath Ledger or Joaquin Phoenix, it's it's his skin, it's his skin on his face, because of the skin disease. It's flaky skin.
It could be the route that they go with it. And I think it's going to be, by the time we're all said and done, and he is fully the Joker, kind of a mix of both, where I think there is going to be some encounter with Batman where he actually does kind of come more of that Joker we know, because Matt Reeves has said, like, this is, the proto Joker before he's actually the Joker we know about. They've had encounters in the past, but he's not fully the Joker yet. So maybe we're kind of still waiting for that moment where he does get the acid or whatever put on him to make him fully white. But at the same time, if they don't decide to do that, and it was something more that he was born with, that works too. But yet somehow I do like it though when Batman is involved with the Joker becoming the Joker. So we'll see, because like I said, we do know they have had encounters. Batman locked him up in Arkham, so maybe the last encounter they had was a result for maybe some of the damage he has on his skin and appearance. But yeah, such a creepy look for the Joker. And I did like how it was shot, where we never really got a good look at his full face, but we saw just enough to know just how disfigured he is, and just what a creepy version of the Joker this is going to be. So, yeah, it was kind of a cool mix of doing something different, but yet I still got a little vibes to like the Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo one, with just how grotesque that Joker was with his face taped to his skin that he cut off. So, kind of a cool mix of both.
It reminded me of the that first shot that we got of Heath Ledger as Joker,
A little bit,
where it's like a set. It's like a set photo, and Christopher Nolan is in the front of the picture, and there's like a frosted glass.
Yeah.
And then you see Heath Ledger's Joker in the back of that glass. Yeah, reminded me of that, where you don't really get a good clear image of the Joker. I mean, you see his hand, and it's all, you know, gross and cut up, and you see his face, and it's all, I don't even know what to call it, Tim.
Yeah.
Disfigured.
But it still feels like the Joker, though. That's what makes it so so awesome.
Yeah.
And it kind of reminded me too, also, of Lee Bermejo's that cover for the Joker graphic novel, where it's just kind of a close up of his lips, and like, you don't even see his eyes or anything. It's like the bottom of his face, and that's kind of has that same look to it as well.
This one looks more grotesque, I'd say.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, this one really creeped me out. I'm actually glad that this wasn't in the movie, that they actually cut this from the movie, because this is so close to Silence of the Lambs.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, just going off I mean, I don't know if this is what they intended, but that whole birthday cake scene in was it Man of Steel? I mean, not Man of Steel. Batman v Superman. With Clark and Pa Kent, Jonathan Kent, and he's like talking about his birthday cake, or like the horses drowned, and we were eating birthday cake while the horses drowned or something. That was a little too close to Silence of the Lambs, where Clarice is talking about the lambs being slaughtered.
Yeah,
you know, so like, I'm glad this wasn't in. And like, this is totally the Silence of the Lambs scene where Clarice meets Hannibal Lecter for the first time. So I'm kind of glad this wasn't in the movie. But that's not to say that this wasn't a great clip. You know, this wasn't a great deleted scene. So, but yeah, I'm glad that it wasn't in.
I'm mixed. I'm mixed because I could see why Matt Reeves decided to cut it, because for two reasons. I think it does feel a little bit too like Batman's encounter with the Riddler in Arkham, where it's like you kind of get two scenes like that in one movie. Or I could kind of see maybe where it might have felt a little repetitive, and then also too how it might take away from like the attention of like the Riddler as a villain, because it's the Joker, and like everyone might be talking about the Joker and might have left more of an impression. But at the same time, too, it is such a great scene, and I think it would work well in the movie as well, especially when you have the scene between Joker and Riddler at the end. I think it makes that sequence a lot better, because we were talking about how that felt a little shoehorned in there. But if this was included, it would not feel shoehorned in. It would make a total sense. Seeing this conversation Batman and Joker had, and then you close it out with Joker now talking to Riddler, it would just add so much more to that. So part of me wants it to be in the movie as well for that. So I don't know. I'm kind of torn. I know why it was cut.
Yeah,
probably was the right decision in the end, but I would love to see it included now that it's out there. Just to see a version of this movie with that scene in it would be really cool. And I'm sure someone's going to do a fan edit out there somewhere. Once it becomes available, someone's going to do their own version of it where this will be inserted at some point during the movie.
I think it might have been too many other movie references, you know, like how Riddler looks like the Zodiac killer, or what the victims that survived say the Zodiac killer look like, or which was in the movie Zodiac. And I think this would have just been a little too much, you know, movie
too on the nose.
Movie references. Yeah. So I think that's why they cut it.
Yeah, but man, now just speaking about the dialogue and the performances here, jeez, it was great. Hopefully I don't screw up his name, Barry Cogan. Yeah, you
Kian.
you
Yeah.
set it up when we were talking about the last episode, Dane, how he like, don't worry, he'd be a great Joker, and it was on display here. Like, totally nothing how he was as Druig in the Eternals, and
Yeah.
for what I remember of him in Dunkirk, he didn't really have a lot of dialogue in Dunkirk, but so Eternals was kind of the only other thing I've seen in him, and just totally different character than that, and he's sold it off really good. I mean, it just made me really want to see more of him as the Joker. And I'm all for a slow build towards Joker being the main villain in Matt Reeves' Batman series now. Because even if he's not the main villain in the sequel, but like he has a role in it more so, and then you save him for like to be the big ultimate threat Batman has to face, as if Matt Reeves is only doing a trilogy and that's how he wants to end it with the Joker, I'm totally fine with that. But I cannot wait to see more of this dynamic between this version of Batman and the Joker, because dang, they nailed it. I mean, it just felt like a classic Batman Joker dialogue scene that we're so used to seeing, whether it's the comics, animated series, or the interrogation scene between Batman and Joker in The Dark Knight. It was just really great. They nailed the dynamic between those characters so early on in their kind of relationship too. The way Joker is kind of viewing this as a celebration of their anniversary, and then kind of throwing it back at Batman, like wanting to talk about him and get into Batman's head. And Batman's trying to deflect it, saying this isn't about me. Like stop doing this. And Joker is just kind of playing him here. It's all that was just fantastic, and just saying how like Batman and Riddler are kind of the same, and you're like, the reason you're here is like you're scared because you might think what Riddler's doing is right, type of scenario. Just messing with Batman's head is just totally
so chilling.
Yeah, so
chilling,
Joker
that last
too.
line.
Yep. Oh, so good.
Yeah.
So good.
Especially that last line where he's like, "You're afraid that he's right."
Yep.
You know. Oh God. It's not only how he looks, it's also the dialogue and how he says it. It's just God, and the laugh too is good. And
yeah,
I was thoroughly creeped out.
Right. Yeah, so this was just such a treat to get. It made my excitement for the movie even more so, to be honest. It made me really want to see it again. I would like to try to see it a third time in the theater before it hits HBO Max, which isn't like less than a month away. So, but yeah, it's just really cool. I just love the world Matt Reeves is creating for Batman here, with all the characters that got introduced in the movie, now with the Joker. And this kind of leads me to a little bit of news that we've got since our last episode, since the movie came out. Even on our last episode, we were talking about how things are going to continue with the Gotham PD series, but now that's changed. It looks like that's been put on hold, and Matt Reeves has said that's kind of evolved now into an Arkham type series, which is exciting too. I will be honest, I am disappointed that GCPD series on hold, because I think could have done some cool stuff with that. But if we're going to get an Arkham series instead, I mean, I'm all for getting a series about that too. And now it just makes me wonder, will that be an avenue where they will use the Joker more until they fully have him be the main villain of a movie? Because he's in Arkham. We don't know when exactly the series will be taking place in, unless they said it and I just missed it. I don't know if it's going to be before the events of the movie or after, but Joker could play a role in there too. And that'll be interesting to have him be exposed or get to know the character better through that series as well. So that's definitely going to be interesting. And I'm wondering too, like, is it going to be a standard series where it's going to have your set of characters, and like, it's almost like how much are they able to do in the setting of Arkham to sustain a full series? I don't know if it's going to be multiple seasons, maybe it's a limited series. But part of me thinks too, it might be kind of cool if it's like an anthology series where you focus on different inmates, whether it's new characters created or classic Batman villains. And we kind of see their history in each episode and kind of see how they end up in Arkham, or maybe certain episodes where you do focus on inmates in Arkham. And like, what if the Joker's, and I've heard people speculate about this too online, which would be kind of cool if like Joker is kind of like the narrator of the series type thing, letting you know about all the different inmates in Arkham. So there's definitely some potential for a lot of cool stuff with this series. So looks like that's going to be the next thing to really be excited about in Matt Reeves' new Batman world that he's created here.
you also see that Paul Dano is gonna write a Riddler series?
Yep, the other bit of news I wanted to talk about. That's so cool. Also,
I may actually read that. Yeah.
Yeah, just the fact it's cool. Hey, we're getting a prequel comic about the Riddler from the Batman. Awesome. Oh wait, it's being written by the guy who actually played him so brilliantly. I mean, that's awesome too.
Yeah, I might actually read a Batman comic too.
I know it's been a while for you, Dane. So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
definitely gonna be picking that up day one. So
yeah, so a lot of good things to look forward to.
yeah, like I said,
I also rewatched the Apes movies.
I've been wanting to
All three
rewatch
of
that
them.
too.
Oh, they're so good, especially the Matt Reeves ones.
Yeah, that second
specifically
one.
the Matt Reeves ones.
Yeah.
And how was Andy Serkis not nominated for an Oscar?
I know, right?
Was it a thing where it was like, but it was in all digital character?
I know that had to play a part in it. It had to.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
And,
like he
yeah,
acted his butt off with that. It's like you felt the emotion every bit you would for just a normal performance that a human would give for a human character or something. It was all there.
Because he's not saying he doesn't have that much dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing dialogue through his face, his facial expressions, and I am so surprised that most, if not all, of the CGI still holds up today. It looks amazing in 4K, and yeah, I'm so glad that Matt Reeves is doing the Batman series, and yeah, like if the Apes movies are what we have to look forward to, then I'm sure we're in for a great ride, Tim.
Yeah, that's great. Like I'm just so glad he's kind of like the man in charge of Batman now, because even just hearing and watching interviews with him, and like he just gets it. Like you just know he's a die-hard fan. I mean, nothing against Chris Nolan or Tim Burton. Even they obviously read the comics, a few comics, and they were fans of it. But you could just tell Matt Reeves is like more of a die-hard fan of Batman and character in general, because he knows like the deep cut stuff too, like from other comic series and storylines as well, that you wouldn't necessarily hear from like Chris Nolan or Tim Burton when they kind of refer to the main ones, Dark Knight, Killing Joke, and all that stuff. And again, I'm not trying to take away anything as far as them not being Batman fans. They obviously are. I just think Matt Reeves is kind of on another level when it comes to Batman fandom, and it's just really cool to have someone like that in charge of Batman. And another cool thing I kind of forget about too is he's involved with Batman the Cape Crusader animated series with Bruce Timm and J.J. Abrams. And it's just
that's right.
So awesome that all those creative minds are involved with the show. Now actually seeing what Matt Reeves did with Batman, it just adds my excitement to that series even more now too.
I totally forgot about that animated series thing. I don't know how I forgot about that. Maybe it's because I'm a diehard fan like you are. You go crazy for that, especially if Bruce Timm is involved.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah. Another thing we have to look forward to.
I know. I can't wait to get our first look and to see when that's coming out, because that's going to be great. There's a lot of stuff with Batman, whether it's in movies and television now, with this different series we're going to get. It's just awesome. So, yeah, the last few weeks since the Batman has come out, it's just been awesome. Having a new Batman movie out that has been so well received by so many people and just doing really well at the box office too. So it's like so good to have Batman back in movie theaters and being successful, and just looking forward to this new version and this whole world Matt Reeves has created just to be fleshed out more as the years go by. So yeah, it's been an awesome 2 weeks to be a Batman fan. That's for darn sure.
Even better for you because you get to see 311.
Right. I know. Like it's been an awesome couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Just geeking out on certain stuff. So yeah, you kind of mentioned the news items that we're going to get into, but it all ties into the Batman. So just more great stuff to look forward to with that. And the one thing I'll just mention too, the other bit of news that happened since the Batman has come out, Warner Brothers has again shuffled their movie releases. A couple of movies have gotten delayed. Aquaman's delayed till March, and big shocker here, the Flash movies. It's going to be even longer till we see that again. We thought we were getting it this year, but nope. It's delayed to June 2023. That's a pretty big delay, which was disappointing because we're all coming off the high of the Batman and excited for the other DC movies coming out this year. They even showed that sizzle reel before the Batman in the movie theaters about the other movies coming out this year. So I hope they took that down now for when you see the Batman again, because we're not going to have Flash or Aquaman this year, which is disappointing, especially for the Flash. I really can't wait to see what they do with that. But so that was disappointing, but still a lot of other cool stuff to look forward to between now and then when those movies come out. So, but yeah, I think that was the only bit of news left that I wanted to mention. So before wrapping the episode up, though, kind of give a review of something totally different than Batman, but another thing I'm a fan of that I wanted to talk about, and that is going to do a quick review of the first episode of the Halo series that just premiered on Paramount Plus just a couple of days ago. And I was obviously looking forward to watching it. I'm a big fan of the Halo series. I just finished playing Halo Infinite not too long ago. And I know the series is kind of, first of all, it's almost kind of like the Flash movie where it's been in kind of production hell or limbo for so long where you kind of weren't going to believe it till you see it till it was finally out. Because it's supposed to be a movie being developed by Peter Jackson back in the mid 2000s, and then it became a TV series, and it's like it hasn't been all these different states of production for so long. So the fact that it now is a TV series and it's here is just kind of hard to believe in itself. But I know the trailer kind of got a mixed reception. I thought it looked really cool. I was surprised how good they pulled off. Like some of the Alien Covenant looked really cool. The Spartan armors look cool. So I was definitely excited for it. But at the same time, the showrunners said this is going to be its own thing from the games. It's not going to be part of the main canon. It's going to be its own separate universe thing. And so I was prepared myself for it to be different. But I have to say, at the end of the day, I had mixed reactions on this first episode. I didn't absolutely hate it, but I didn't love it either. So first off, I'll just say the opening, like the first half of the episode, is awesome. Like they really, I think, captured the look of the Spartans and Master Chief going up against the Covenant. Seeing that stuff in live action was really cool. And just kind of, it was hard to believe this. I was watching that, playing the games for over 20 years, and you're seeing Spartans and their, especially Master Chief in his iconic armor going up against the Covenant. It was really a sight to behold in live action. I know some people are saying the effects aren't that great, or that they kind of had trouble with it, but yeah, are they as good as they could be if it was a movie? No. But at the same time, I thought it did its job done, and it didn't take me out of it at all. I thought for the TV show, it was definitely kind of above average from what you'd see normally on TV. So I was happy with how they had the effects were for Spartans taking on the Covenant aliens. So all that was awesome. Just a great action-filled opening sequence. And they did something different where I was kind of into at the beginning, but I'll say this at the end where it didn't end up going in a direction I was too happy with. So one thing that's played off different, like there's this split group of kind of like rebels or people on these planets that aren't happy with the UNSC military and government kind of taking control of the galaxy, and they're kind of fighting back. And they kind of mentioned how the Spartans were created to fight off against these like rebels, these rebel humans, more than being created to fight off the Covenant. Which was like, okay, that's interesting. Not sure if that's the direction I'd go, but I'll see how it plays out. But I did like how at the beginning you had these group of like rebels on this remote planet talking about how deadly the Spartans are, and they're just killing machines, and just like they have to fight it back against them, and then they get attacked by the alien Covenant or the Covenant alien forces. They invade their planet, and then the Spartans end up coming up to help them and save them, and just kind of getting that different perspective of like, okay, so you're not as bad as like the propaganda and rumors we were led to believe, and you're actually helping us. So that was kind of a different, cool perspective, a way to introduce the Spartans. I thought worked well for it. But as I get towards the end, I'll say why I'm a little disappointed that was the direction they went to as well. So it started off as a cool way, I think, to introduce the Spartans. But here's the thing where I kind of felt disappointed with it. I was hoping that the series would still be the focus of it would be Master Chief, Spartans, the UNSC fighting against the Covenant, the threat of this alien invasion against humanity, and humanity has to fight back. But it seems like the thrust of this series isn't going to be about that. Yes, the Covenant's going to play a role. I'm sure a big role, but it's, to me, at least the impression I got after the first episode, that will not be the focus. Because Master Chief, there's one survivor of that rebel camp on that planet. It's this young teenage girl who survives, and Master Chief decides to take back with him. And the UNSC government decides that they're going to have to kill her, to have her just be like she didn't survive her wounds from the Covenant attack, because it's this whole political thing about, you know, this rebel group going against the UNSC, and they just, you know, they don't want they want to gain sympathy, I guess, for the rebellion. So they kind of instruct Master Chief to kill her, and he goes against orders, and he ends up saving her. And then he ends up kind of going away from the government and the army and kind of becoming an enemy of them. And it's like, to me, it seems like Master Chief's antagonist, at least this early on, is going to be the UNSC, who he eventually does kind of go rogue against later on in the game. But in the game series, but I just felt it's way too early to be going down that route in the first episode of the series, and kind of have the threat of the Covenant be in the background. And here's my other kind of gripe with the series. I really feel like they're trying to do their own thing of the Mandalorian. It's like, you have this character who's in the suit of armor, this awesome looking armor. He's supposed to be like a loner. He's just here to complete his missions, nothing else. But then he meets this young character, and obviously she's not young as Baby Yoda, but she's a young girl, like I said, kind of early teenagers, and he takes to her where he feels he has to.
Sorry, Tim. I got to interrupt you. Young as in 50 years old.
Not that young, I should say. But it's like he takes a taking to her, in fact, that he has to protect her and kind of become like that father figure for her, because he touches this object and he has this flashback of seeing this family, and it gets revealed that he's actually seeing his past, because when you're taken to the Spartan program, they erase your memories, but now he's getting some of those memories back of his own family. So it's, I think, kind of making him want to make sure that she's protected, because she lost her family to the Covenant. And then he goes against obviously his own organization, the UNSC, to protect her. And it's almost like the Mandalorian rescuing Baby Yoda going against the bounty hunter guild, those he was working with, and he has to make his escape. Master Chief does the same here. He does have a few loyal Spartans who are fighting for him and allow him to escape, but it just really had Mandalorian vibes to it. And then the biggest change and thing that they're doing with it is Master Chief takes off his helmet and you see his face. And that's the big thing with the Halo series. You never see Master Chief's face. He takes off his helmet, but you never see his face. Like, the camera always pans away, or there's something blocking your view to seeing what he looks like. And one of my criticisms going into the series beforehand was like, how can they not get the original voice actor to do his voice? Because it's an iconic voice. He's been doing it for 20 years, and that's all you associate with Master Chief for playing all those games for so long. So I was disappointed with that. But now I know why they did it, because you're going to see the actor's face now, and he's obviously going to have a different voice from the one in the video games. And I don't know, I was just taken back. It was a little jarring to see actually Master Chief's face now. And moving forward, it seems like it's going to be a thing where he's not going to have his helmet all the time. And it might be one of those things where it's like, oh, you got an actor, you got to see his face now for the majority of the time, and then only have the Spartan helmet when he's in action. And just seeing that, it's like, I can understand if you build your way towards that, like the Mandalorian did. But it's like right off the get-go, you're doing like changing one of the biggest things in the Halo series. It was like, I don't know, I felt it was too early, and just a kind of a lot to get used to for, I think, being fans of the game. So wasn't a huge fan of that. And I just worry that it's going to be, more of him without his helmet than with his helmet on, just so you could have the actor show like his emotion and try to establish more of that emotional bond between him and the young girl, like that father-daughter relationship. But to me, it just made me appreciate more what the Mandalorian did, because you got all that emotion with Din Djarin behind the helmet for most of the season, not seeing his face until that season 1 finale, and then seeing it again at the last 2 episodes of season 2. And you never felt that you're not seeing or getting emotion from the character. You got all that even behind the helmet. And it just kind of feels like they're trying to do the Mandalorian and eat their cake too, like the type of thing. Because you even hear like even the actors playing Master Chief saying we're able to show Master Chief without his helmet. We're able to do what the Mandalorian cannot do because of a rule within the universe. And like he actually name dropped the Mandalorian. It's like, you could do it. You just kind of, I don't know what the reason are exactly, but it just felt like they were trying to say, hey, like we're gonna do things like the Mandalorian, but our character is not going to be bound to having his helmet on. And it's like when that character is already known for doing that, for never taking his helmet off. So it's just, I don't know, a mix of different things that really didn't make me love it like I wanted to. And they're just going in different story directions that I felt were done differently, because I really thought or would like it to be where it was just, that classic Halo story, them going up against an alien invasion and unveiling the secrets of the universe with the Halo rings and the Forerunners. So I'm sure they'll dive into the mythology, and maybe they will build towards events that happen in the game. But for as of right now, and what the story they're setting up for the first season being more of Master Chief on the run with this girl that the government wants to kill, and he has to kind of protect her now, it just felt very familiar to The Mandalorian to me, and just not done in the way that captured me, the way the story in The Mandalorian captured me. This story that they're doing for Halo so far hasn't grabbed me. So yeah, it was a kind of a tale of two cities type of thing where I loved what they did in the beginning, but by the time we got to the end of it, wasn't a big fan of what they're doing with the story. So if I had to grade it, I'd probably give it just a 3 out of 5. That's kind of being generous, because like I said, that opening sequence was awesome. It was just so cool seeing all that stuff in live action. And I did think the production value was good with the effects and how the Covenant looked and how the Spartans looked. All that was great. But the story just didn't go in a direction I was hoping it would. So I'm still going to continue to watch it. I'll see where the season goes. But right now, not as enthusiastic as I was going into the series.
Does Master Chief not take off his helmet at all in the
Nope.
game?
Nope. Like he does, but you never see it. Like I said, if the camera pans away or it fades out or something.
Oh, I see. And how come he takes off his helmet?
He was trying to gain the trust of that girl to show that she
No,
can trust him.
In the game.
What do you mean? How he takes it off? Like,
how come he takes off his helmet in the game?
oh, okay. So,
Yeah.
I just remember like he was just on the ship by himself, like just about to fly in space, and because I believe that was the ending in the first game where he just takes the helmet off because he's done fighting, and the camera just pans away. I think there was another moment too, but I can't remember exactly which one where he does.
I see. So that's like rule number 1: don't take off your helmet if you're gonna play Master Chief.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. No, I get it. Like it's a big main character thing, and because I thought people were just being like, oh, the story isn't like game story, and stuff
That's a
like
part of it
that.
too. Yeah, that's definitely there.
Which is weird, because I remember when the reviews first started coming out for the TV series, it was like new people won't really get it, but diehard fans will really love it. So
man, see, I think it's the opposite.
Really
Yeah.
yeah, because I know nothing about Halo except it's a fun game to play. I think I played Halo 3 back when like that game first came out, but I haven't really played any other games. So I don't know. But like you said, I think it sounds like the opposite, where true fans or diehard fans don't really like it because he takes off his helmet and it's not like the video game story or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like me, it's like I know who Master Chief is. I know who Cortana is.
Yeah.
And like yeah, it seems like that's my in, I guess you could say.
Yeah, so like I said, I'd be curious for what someone like you would think of it, kind of going into not knowing if the story works for you more than it would for me, being more familiar with the games than you are. So yeah, I don't know. You think you'll still check it out eventually?
Yeah, I plan to watch it today, but I don't know. It's like it's one of those things. It's like, am I gonna enjoy this as a non-fan of the game?
Mm-hmm.
You know, am I gonna enjoy this as like somebody that sort of knows about it? You know, in the sense of like the Covenant and Master Chief and Cortana and what have you. Am I gonna enjoy it? You know, in the sense where like I'm not gonna get the references or like, oh, what the UNSC is and like all of their branches of government and stuff. You know,
They don't go into too much of that really. I think for anyone new coming, they'll be able to follow the story just fine.
Okay, I see. It's kind of unfortunate they're doing the Mandalorian thing. It sounds like.
Yeah, that's kind of my biggest gripe with
Going
it,
off
to be
what
honest.
you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I guess if you have a helmeted character, you know, you got to give them somebody to, you know, somebody to bounce things off of, you know.
That's the thing. That's what Cortana is in the game. So
yeah.
I thought that was going to be his
see.
companion in this too. But now I'm
So
curious to see how.
Cortana isn't in the movie.
She's not in this first episode, but she will be in the series. Yeah, they showed her in the trailer. So now it's gonna be interesting to see how they're gonna work her into it.
Yeah, you see, I thought it was Master Chief and Cortana were like Batman and Robin, right?
Yeah, they really are in the games.
Yeah,
like she's pretty much his best friend.
Yeah. I was about to say, like, isn't there like a big thing where like Master Chief has to say goodbye to Cortana, or Cortana does something bad, or
she kind of goes bad, and he has to kind of go after her or do what he can to make sure she doesn't do what she plans to do.
Yeah, what I've played of Halo Infinite, it seems like I forget the name of the new character. Is it like the computer or something?
Yeah.
And she and at the end, isn't she like like, oh, I should pick myself a name. Which name should I pick?
Yeah, their relationship is like the heart of the Halo series and the story. So it was like they're just going in a different direction. Again, it's like not big fan of it, especially like just because being familiar with the games, but then also just going down familiar territory, what we've seen with the Mandalorian. So we'll see how it all ends up. But I have to say I'm a bit disappointed with the first episode.
Uh-oh. Is this a Tim hates it thing? Uh-oh.
Here we go again. Yeah, it's on the same level as the Batman, right?
Which is the new Last Jedi.
But it's like I didn't get the feeling that I might like it more the more I see it. I didn't get that feeling like I did with the Batman. Because even then, when I first saw it, it's like I have a feeling I probably will like it more once I just take it all in and see it again for the second time. But didn't get that same vibe with Halo.
I see. And doesn't the game, doesn't the universe take place in the far future?
Oh yeah, it's like the 2200s, I believe, or maybe it's 21. I forget.
So why would they know about the Mandalorian?
You mean they're actually just going off the series?
Oh no, I thought you said they actually name dropped the Mandalorian.
Oh no, I meant the actor who played Master Chief in an interview. He name dropped the Mandalorian.
I see. I thought it was actually in the TV show. It's like, see, I'm like the Mandalorian, and you're like Baby Yoda or whatever.
Oh man, imagine if they actually name dropped that. That would have been what everyone would be talking about.
Okay, that makes sense. Because when you first said that, I was like, wait, what? They name dropped the Mandalorian.
Maybe I worded it wrong, but no, yeah, I meant to say the actor who played Master Chief said that in an interview.
Oh, I see. Well, I will watch it, and I will let you know how a non-fan of the Halo series really likes it or really thinks about it.
Yeah, I'll be really curious to hear. Like you said, going in as someone who hasn't played much of the games, is not too familiar with the story, see if it works better for you.
Yeah. Because, well, I mean, I don't know about that because you said it was sort of like a ripoff of the first season of The Mandalorian. So
yeah, that's. I think
am
that's
I
how
going
it's
to be
gonna
like,
hold it back.
yeah?
You might
Am
feel
I
the
going to be
same.
like, oh, this is just like The Mandalorian or whatever? I don't know. We'll see, Tim.
We shall see. Yes.
I will be the final decision on this Halo show.
You'll be the end all be all when it comes
Yeah.
to the consensus of the Halo series. All right, but with that, I think that's going to do it for this episode. It's kind of a jam-packed one with a lot of different topics, but
Yeah.
nonetheless fun to talk about. So, as always, I'll throw it to you, Dane, for the outro.
All right, go over to the BatmanUniverse.net, Facebook.com/BatmanUniverse, Twitter handles at BatmanUniverse. Show's Twitter handle is at Bat-Fans Podcast. Tim's Twitter handle is at TimG311. I'll say it, Tim, because you're still on the 311 high. My Twitter handle is at Dean Says Banana. Rate and review us on iTunes, and you can email the show at batfanswithoutpants@gmail.com. So with that, we say at the end of every single episode, Tim, what is it going to be?
We love each and every one of you with all of our hearts that are still buzzing from 311 Day, catching up on TMNT comics, excited about the Joker deleted scenes, and even our hearts that are disappointed with the Halo series. We're still so thankful and love you all.
Wow. That's your longest yet. Yeah.
That was a mouthful, but fitting with all the stuff we haven't talked about in this episode.
See you guys next time.
See you next time, everybody.